Cecilia wakes up in the middle of the night and very quietly, so as not to wake her husband Adrian, packs an escape bag she has been hiding in a secret place. She gets dressed and leaves the luxurious cottage. The reason is that her wealthy husband, a brilliant scientist in the field of optical technology, turned out in everyday life to be a cruel abuser and manipulator. Because of constant psychological abuse, Cecilia became dependent on strong sedatives and took birth control pills, as she did not want to have a child with a man she hated. On a deserted road at night, Cecilia is met by her sister Emily, who is still unaware of how serious her sister's situation truly is. Cecilia says she will explain everything later and urges her to drive away as quickly as possible. Suddenly, her enraged husband bursts out of the forest, smashes the side window of the car, and tries to drag Cecilia out by force. The terrified women speed away, while Adrian calmly picks up a bottle of sedatives that Cecilia dropped on the asphalt. Shaken and terrified, Cecilia hides from her husband's rage at the house of James, a police officer who is raising his young daughter Sydney on his own. After 2 weeks of hiding, Emily comes to the house and shows Cecilia the news that her husband has allegedly committed suicide. Only then does Cecilia finally tell the full truth about Adrian, who systematically destroyed her will, controlled every aspect of her life, and even dictated what clothes she was allowed to wear. Eventually, Cecilia gathers the courage to step outside her safe haven, at least to walk to the mailbox. Among the letters, she finds an envelope addressed to her, even though she believed no one knew her location. Inside is an invitation from a lawyer, Adrian's brother Tom, to attend the reading of her husband's will. Cecilia inherits Adrian's luxurious house with his private laboratory, as well as $5 million. But there is one condition: the money will only be paid if she is declared mentally stable. That evening, Cecilia stays at James's house, yet she cannot shake the feeling that someone invisible is nearby. She goes down to the living room, notices the front door standing wide open, and steps outside. Cold vapor escapes from her mouth, but she does not notice that someone unseen exhales behind her as well. Later, she decides to sleep in the same room as Sydney. During the night, the blanket slowly slips away. A camera flash flickers several times in the silence, and Cecilia wakes up freezing. When she grabs the blanket, someone pulls it back. Terrified, she calls James and insists that someone invisible is in the room, but he dismisses it as anxiety and imagination caused by trauma. The next morning, Cecilia goes to a job interview, but suddenly realizes that her portfolio bag is missing, even though she clearly remembers packing it the night before. Overwhelmed by stress, she faints and wakes up in a clinic. She is released after a blood test, but later her doctor calls and informs her that her blood contained an abnormally high level of sedatives. Cecilia finds a bottle of pills in the bathroom and realizes they are the same tranquilizers she dropped while escaping from her husband. She goes to see Tom and asks him to tell Adrian to stop stalking her. Showing the bottle, she claims that her husband, a recognized genius in optics, faked his death, found a way to become invisible, and is now punishing her for leaving him. Tom dismisses her claims as delusions, pointing out that Adrian's ashes are sitting in an urn on his shelf. Cecilia then visits her sister Emily to talk, but Emily is furious over an email in which Cecilia accused her of greed and trying to claim part of Adrian's inheritance. Emily suggests that Cecilia needs treatment and slams the door. Back at James's house, Cecilia checks her email and through tears reads another message she never wrote. When Sydney enters the room and suggests throwing a party, an unseen force strikes the girl on the head. Sydney believes Cecilia hit her. James rushes in, takes his crying daughter away, and ignores Cecilia's objections, advising her to seek psychiatric help. Left alone, Cecilia suddenly has a realization and calls Adrian's number. She hears a phone vibrating above the ceiling and climbs into the attic, where she finds Adrian's smartphone lying on the floor. Scrolling through the gallery, she discovers photos taken while she was asleep. Nearby is a notebook with blueprints of the house marking hidden observation points. A message appears on the phone with the single word, "surprise." Cecilia pours paint through the attic hatch, revealing the outline of an invisible person. Grabbing a knife, she follows the trail of paint, but the invisible man washes it off and attacks her. After barely fighting him off with kitchen plates, Cecilia runs outside, calls a taxi, and escapes. She later breaks into Adrian's house, guesses the password to his laboratory, and discovers a suit that can turn a person invisible. Cecilia hides the suit in a secret place in the walk-in closet, but suddenly, footprints appear on the carpet. Realizing she is not alone, she flees the house in panic. Cecilia urgently calls Emily and arranges a meeting, telling her she has proof that Adrian is alive and stalking her. Suddenly, a knife lifts into the air, slashes Emily's throat, and is placed into Cecilia's hand. The police arrive and arrest Cecilia, forcibly committing her to a high-security psychiatric ward. Before losing consciousness from injected tranquilizers, she hears Adrian's favorite word, surprise. James interrogates Cecilia, as all the evidence suggests she abuses sedatives and suffers from severe delusions of persecution. Soon after, a doctor reveals shocking news. Cecilia is pregnant. A few days later, Tom visits her and smugly announces that her mental illness voids the inheritance. He explains that Adrian knew about the birth control pills long ago and secretly replaced them with harmless vitamins. Tom gives Cecilia a choice: either sign away her claim to the inheritance or carry Adrian's child and return to him. Realizing that Tom knows everything and is working for her invisible husband, Cecilia lashes out in rage. Later that night, she pretends to attempt suicide, forcing the invisible Adrian to reveal himself. She repeatedly stabs him with a pen, damaging the suit, but he retaliates by killing the guards and escaping. Cecilia grabs a gun and chases the invisible man. In the parking garage, he grabs her by the throat and threatens to kill everyone she loves, starting with Sydney, James's daughter, if she continues to resist him. Cecilia escapes the psychiatric hospital and goes to James's house. The police arrive quickly, but the invisible attacker proves stronger. Suddenly, Cecilia awakens and fires 4 shots into the invisible figure. Removing the mask, she discovers that it was Tom wearing the suit. Soon after, armed special forces storm Adrian's house, hear cries for help from the basement, and find Adrian tied up. At the police station, James believes Tom was responsible for everything, but Cecilia insists that Adrian orchestrated the entire plan, as he is a master strategist and manipulator. Cecilia later goes to meet Adrian with a hidden recorder, intending to make him confess, while James listens from a nearby car. Adrian senses a trap and denies everything. Cecilia excuses herself to the bathroom, and moments later, Adrian's own hand slits his throat with a kitchen knife. Cecilia returns, pretends to panic, calls 911, and quietly whispers Adrian's favorite word, surprise. James arrives and notices a second invisible suit hidden in Cecilia's bag. He realizes she never intended to record a confession. She carried out the perfect murder. The home security cameras clearly show Adrian killing himself because no one would ever believe that an invisible suit exists. And that's the end. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and thank you for watching.